Hello, everyone, and welcome to our very spooktacular edition of our TripleTen Data Jam live stream. So, my name is Tiffany Hall tonight, playing the part of Miss Frizzle from Magic School Bus. I'm an alumni of TripleTen Software Engineering Program and a full stack engineer. And tonight I get to be the wonderful, spooktacular Magic School Bus. Come on, everybody, let's go take a ride. Host for our Data Jam. So if you are new to this space, let me just let you know what a data jam is. So TripleTen, we like to make sure that our students have real opportunities to put together what they've been working on and make sure that they're getting practice and skills so that they're developing all of those things that employers are looking for. One of the ways we do that is by using a data jam. So we have super short competitions. They're about 5 days, maybe six, and the students get paired up with other students that they've never met before, and they have to work remotely to jam out the data for a prompt or jam out the code for the prompt. So every every stream has a different prompt. There we go. And so this one is going to be focused on data and making meaning from the data. So we have our BIA students with us, and they have been working for the past week. They were divided into teams, and then we challenged them to create visual essays using the provided data sets so they could make meaning for you, the stakeholders. So today, the teams are going to show off what they've been working on all week. And then in the next week, the judges will evaluate their work. There are two parts. There's the working with the data part and the presentation. So they've already completed the working with the data. Tonight's the presentation. It's going to be a very exciting time. We have two teams this evening, and it is important to note that if you are watching this live or you're watching it on replay later, you can always vote for your favorite to win the audience award from TripleTen by putting their team name either in the live chat if you're watching live or in the comment section if you're watching this on replay later. All of the results for both the winner of the jam as well as the audience award will be posted on the hub and all the socials November 7th. So here we go. We are going to go ahead and get started. So like I said, we have two teams. The first team is Control Alt Jam. Now, they were not able to be here live with us tonight, which is fine because they obviously are very hard workers. And so I'm going to play their recording, and that team consists of Amanda Amanda San Vincente, Wonchet Hirko, and Jeremiah Chaco. All right, let me share my screen. Let's see if Miss Frizzle has the ability to do it the right way the first time.
Hi, my name is Amanda, and I'm with Controlled Alt Jam, along with my teammates Winchester and Jeremiah. We decided to analyze the air quality in New York City. Air quality isn't just an environmental metric, it's a public health signal, a policy level, and a lived experience for millions of New Yorkers. We will be exploring the evolving landscapes of air quality across New York from 2005 to 2022, weaving together emissions data, seasonal shifts, borough level comparisons, and health outcomes like asthma and hospitalization. Our objective is to analyze and visualize air quality trends across New York to highlight temporal patterns, regional disparities, and public health impacts. We want to integrate emissions data, seasonal varieties, weekday and weekend comparisons, and borough-level insights to support environmental monitoring, health risk assessment, and data-driven policy decisions. As we can see, from 2005 to 2022, air quality shows a fluctuating but overall improving trend. In 2005, it was at 37.60. In 2022, we were down to 14.43. So overall, improving. This suggests that impacts of environmental regulations and urban planning efforts over time have helped the air quality. Pollution doesn't just linger in the air, though. It does land in emergency rooms. This visualization connects emissions with asthma-related incidents and hospitalization, showing how environmental exposure translates into public health consequences. As emissions rise, so does respiratory risk, especially for vulnerable populations like children and the elderly. This data does reveal a strong correlation between environmental exposure and respiratory health, underscoring the urgency of pollution control for public well-being.
Okay, this visualization show or compare the weekdays and the weekend. And the weekend air quality in the New York City. So as we can see from this, the weekdays constantly show the higher pollution than the weekends. It's likely due to the increased traffic in the industrial uh, activity. So this knowing this helps to understand not just how the pollution occur, but also our daily routine also affect the air. The second one, the other one is it showed the seasonal shift and the impact of seasons in the air quality. As we can go from the winter to the spring, the chart show how the air quality is affected. So it's like either because of the temperature, humidity, and the seasonal behavior. From the chart, we can see that December has higher general pollution than the other, and also slightly lower in the respiratory illness in the other, compared with the other seasons. This visualization remind that environment condition is dynamic, and understanding this seasonal shift will help the policymaker or the residences. So the other one is the air quality, how the air quality is affected by from city to the other, from one city to the other. As we can see, the Proxen and the Brook, yeah, Brooklyn have the higher pollution level compared with this Staten Island, Queens, and Manhattan. It might be because of the traffic density or industrial zone. So this tell us the environment inequality is a real issue. So where a resident in certain region face the higher pollution, where the other face low, it's just because where they live. So recognize this is a key to shape the target policy and improve the air quality. And the other analysis will be explained by my teammate. Thank you.
Thank you, Winchet. So before I get into the latter half of this presentation, I do want to mention a question that I brought up to my team as we were doing research for this particular topic. So growing up, I was someone that suffered from asthma, and oftentimes whenever I would travel to the East Coast, more specifically New York, I would have to bring my medication, my inhalers, and the machines and whatnot. And so because of that, I was able to adapt to the environment out there. And one of the questions that I brought up to my team was, I wonder how people who suffer from asthma or any other major lung disease are able to survive in this city. And so for me to talk about this particular topic this many years later is pretty full circled. So let's get right into it. As you guys see here with this stacked bar chart, this breaks down air quality by the 5 boroughs. While the entire city does struggle, I do want to note the differences. For example, in the data, if you look at this first column for the Bronx, it shows a high concentration of bad air quality, the dark red region, while a different borough like Manhattan, which is known for Central Park, as average air quality as a little bit more moderate, I would say. When it comes to these two boroughs in all five of them, the differences are persistent. You know, when it comes to a borough like the Bronx, it tends to have higher population density and fewer greener areas compared to a borough like Manhattan, which I mentioned does have Central Park. However, with Manhattan, it does also suffer from the same problems that the Bronx suffers as well too. High population density, not as many green areas, and a lot of infrastructure, a lot of industrial activity, heavy traffic in Manhattan. And so those are the places that tend to suffer from the worst air quality. And it seems like when it comes to, all five of them, the air quality issues are systemic. And this chart reinforces the need for targeting environmental interventions in these boroughs. And so we'll continue on with the map of New York City, which notes the boroughs again. So this map of NYC shows a stark reality. As you guys see, almost the entire city falls into that deep red color. Air pollution isn't uniformly distributed. The text notes area with moderate and or unhealthy air cluster around high traffic zones, like for example, Manhattan, the Bronx, those areas. And one thing I do want to note specifically about the Bronx is this is what I looked up personally. So the Bronx actually tends to have a lot more hospitalizations for people that suffer from lung diseases compared to the other four boroughs, which I thought was really crazy. But then as I did more digging into that specific borough, it tends to suffer from, lack of greener areas and a lot more industrial activity and a lot more heavier traffic and population density. And so, all that to say, this visual proves that environmental pollution is a matter of spatial inequality. Wherever part of New York you live in, it impacts the air that you breathe. And so, as I wrap up this presentation, I just want to lay out some things that we talked about today. Uh, this dashboard reveals pollution is shaped by the seasonal spikes, and they tend to be heavier around the winter time. And when it comes to the different boroughs that we went through, there's a lot of borough level disparities, we can call it, as we discussed today. And a lot of these disparities uh, are shown by different behavioral patterns. And when it comes to the emissions that exist, they don't just exist just because they exist because of the different actions that are taken by the people that live in those cities, and because of what people do in those cities and what they're doing in as far as transportation and activity, these ripple into hospital admissions and create greater respiratory risk for residents and visitors that live in these certain boroughs. And so, just to wrap up what we talked about today and where we can go from here, our team believes that cleaner air is not just a goal, it's a necessity for the city. It's important that we understand these rhythms of pollution, from the seasonal changes to the borough level risk, because that will be the first step towards protecting the health of every person, whether they're a visitor of New York or a resident of New York. We want to thank you guys for taking time to listen to our presentation. I want to give a shout out to my team, Amanda and Woonshit. It was great to meet you guys. I hope you guys had as much fun making this presentation as much as I did. And once again, if you're listening here today, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we hope you guys learned something today. Thank you.
Okay. That was wonderful. Thank you guys so very much. I personally really love the connection. I've gone to New York quite a few times, and that was really eye-opening to see the different pieces around the air quality and how it really affects kind of everything. So excellent news. Very wonderful visuals too. My favorite one was the spiky one at the beginning, not being in the kind of BIA piece of it. That one really grabbed my attention. So I think that was an excellent choice for a visual. All right, so that was our first team of the evening. That was Control Alt Jam with Amanda San Vicente, Woshat Hikro, and Jeremiah Chaco. All right, so it moves us to our second team, the Duo Data Punishers, with Kessie Moreno and Ethan Lee. Go ahead and take it away, Kessie.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm so excited to share our project. Funny enough, we also did air quality.
That's
Um,
how it works sometimes. It's amazing. I can't wait to see the take that you guys have on it too.
yeah, it was so interesting to see the other team and like where they went with the data. It was really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
okay, I'm excited.
We kind of did have like the similar approach. We did study the air quality in New York and its surrounding cities, but our main focus was on the effects that it has on the environment and the people and what are causing these high peaks on average for the city as a whole. We did do some background research. We did find out that we want to keep the air quality on average at about a 20. So do keep that in mind when I'm going through each visual, just to like implement these really high peaks, and that this is really a big issue that we do need to figure out how to solve. So that brings me to our first visual. This is going to be all of the cities as a whole, how they're doing on average, and this is starting between 2005 and the year of 2022. Here you can see all 5 cities had a major issue with their air quality, this being at 4.10 for the air quality. So really, really bad during that time. And then there's a significant drop there, which is really cool. It's really amazing that the New York was able to bring that down a little bit. But it did peak again in 2010, 2012, and then again on 2019. And then it looks like we figured out a way to kind of stabilize it a little bit. Here, we kind of wanted to see when these high peaks were happening and if they were seasonal. And it turns out that wintertime was the worst time of the year for these really bad air quality issues, indicating at 56.57 for air quality during that time. But it looks like throughout the rest of the year, during the summertime, spring, we kind of it drops, we can kind of handle the air quality there. So wintertime is kind of a thing that we would kind of look into solving issue in. Here we kind of wanted to break down the cities. So we looked into Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, and Staten Island. There was a few unknown cities in the data that we weren't able to kind of pick up on. But here you can really see that Bronx was the worst city consistently throughout the years. It really had a big spike in 2012, which is a big issue. We also at 84.29, like that's insane. And then 2015 as well. And then the other thing that we also found that in Queens was another big issue as well. Their numbers consistently kept going up as well. But Staten Island, it seems like they know what's going on. They're keeping their average air quality pretty low. So they're doing pretty good as a whole. Okay, so this visual is, I kind of want to view it as like a cause and effect visual. Here you can see that we have a really big issue and emission problem at 81.44 on average, which is where our main issue is coming from, meaning factories, traffic, and then it goes into general pollution. When these two things are really high in number, it is causing a really big effect on our respiratory issue, indicating that we are breathing way too much pollution. People who are hanging out in New York, that's a big problem. Next slide, excuse me. Okay, so this is kind of our dashboard that you can kind of play around on a different time, but we kind of broke it up into years. You can look into the data a little bit smaller, break it into year, city, and then you can even look in, hey, I only want to look into the bad quality of the impact of these cities. You can do that, or you can just focus on the moderate or just focus on the good and when these are kind of happening during those times. In conclusion, because we found that Bronx and Queens are the big cities that are having these really high peaks, here are some things that we would kind of recommend. Okay, we would kind of recommend, first of all, winter time. We saw that winter time was the worst time of the year for these peaks kind of happening, and we would kind of suggest implementing stricter admission controls, specifically in December and February time, just to kind of monitor, kind of bring awareness to the people like, hey, maybe turn off your heater during the winter time if you're not home, just to kind of help that problem number go down a little bit and kind of work together as a team, as a community. The other thing is Bronx and Queens was a big, big city that had really high peaks and really bad problems during those times. So another thing that we would kind of suggest is partnering with environmental agencies to kind of bring awareness to these areas as to what we could be doing to solve those problems during those times. Um, we do have a couple other recommendations, but that's our main two that I kind of want to discuss with you guys. Thank you so much.
All right, that was wonderful. Similarly, I love the graph that you had with the up and down spikes over the years. The first one that didn't work for this first spike I saw, but the second one was peak COVID season, right? And I just
Yeah.
remember instantly, like the whole globe was reporting about how air quality and ocean quality and all of these things had improved, and that showed up in your data. So that's pretty wild to see.
Mhm.
Uh, Now, how was it working with another? No, it's just you and Ethan on this team, but how was it working with someone remotely that you've never met before?
Yeah, it was pretty different. I was so used to like always working with people in person. So especially located in Oregon and Ethan's in Virginia. So our time
Oh,
difference was 3 hours apart. So he
yeah.
always had a head start on the project than I did, but we managed to kind of work with the time difference. I did get confused there for a second, but
Mm.
we were able to kind of work together. It was really great working with him.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, are you guys in the same place in the program or are you guys in different places? Because that also could be something that is not a challenge to work through, but something to kind of think about, or it can be a real great opportunity to learn from each other.
Yeah, I can definitely see how that would be a challenge if you guys are in different places. I was lucky. We're both in the graduation class, the same graduation class. So we ended up getting our certificate at the same exact time.
Oh, that's so great. So you guys really were able to jam out just a whole bunch of work, having already kind of gone through the whole piece. And it must be really nice knowing like what the other person has skill set wise, right? I think that is something that is a real benefit, is the coursework you both have gone through.
Yeah, we were really able to like discuss our strengths and weaknesses of like what we discovered going through the courses and kind of implement it like working together in this code jam. It was really convenient being done with the course and really focusing together as a team, like working on this and just giving it our all with this data. Yeah, it was a great experience.
Now, if you guys had extra time, because that's the one thing everyone always asks for is
Yeah.
extra time, what would be maybe a data point or some little kind of question that was still nagging at you guys when you turned in your project?
Yeah, so actually playing with the data a little, I wish I had a little bit more time because now that I'm a little bit more familiar with the data, I wish that I would go like cleaning the data a little bit differently. Something that I would have done is maybe separating the categories with like hospitalization and the respiratory issue and having that be its own separate category to analyze, and then going into admissions and then general population, because that seems like those two categories go coincide together. So I would kind of break those down and just kind of see, compare the two categories. I knew during the presentation we kind of kept it together. But now looking back, and I think like after this, I'll probably play with the data a little bit more. I would probably tweak those and see like what other insights I could find.
Well, I think that'd be really great if you guys were able to continue kind of like a version one, version two, because
Yeah.
then just thinking through the lens of like portfolio, then it can be like, look, here's what we did in 5 days. Here's what we did when we had more time. And we obviously are so committed to finding this information and we enjoy it so much that like when you don't have the code jam constraints, seeing what you guys are able to really put out there would be amazing.
Yes.
All right. Well, those are our teams for the evening. So thank you so much for joining us for this very spectacular version of the Data Jam. I want to remind everyone that this is the great time for you to vote. If you're a student of ours, you can vote in the hub. If we're going to have a little poll in there, so you can vote for our two teams, which one your favorite was this evening. If you're not a student of ours just yet, then you can vote for your favorite team to get the audience award, either in the chat, which is usually over here, that is going on during the live production, or down below me if you're watching this on replay. So just a reminder, all of our results, whether they're the awards or the Code Jam winner, not Code Jam, Data Jam winner, is going to be announced on November 7th. So I want to say a special thanks to everyone who is on the team that gets these jams up and going all the time. And so I'd like to point out our mentor, Arena, and our other judges as well, Omar, Elena, Natasha, and then all of the other people that are working behind the scenes, Olivia, Anastasia, Dennis, of course, my ride or die, and then naturally my cat Sharkbait, who does a lot of the coding you just don't see. Thank you guys so much for joining. I hope everyone has a happy Halloween if you celebrate. And as always, my name is Tiffany Hall. You can find me at Tiffany Codes on Instagram and tiffanycodes.com online. And you can find my cat Sharkbait looking for his Halloween costume. Thanks so much for watching and